Assalamualaikum. A very good morning. Hi everyone. I'm Aminah. It is a great pleasure to once again welcome all of you to this HR series of webinar. It is jointly organized by Malaysia Productivity Corporation, MPC, and the Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus, MEPN. Now, before we begin, just like before, a few points for housekeeping. The question and answer session will be after the second speaker's presentation. In the meantime, you can kindly post all your questions in the Q&A box, and we will try to answer it as soon as we can. Right? Okay, now without much further ado, we'll start today's webinar. Now we are fortunate again today to have with us two our previous speakers, our specialist, Mr. Chee, Tatt, an expert matters specialist with MEPN. Now, Mr. Chan, although he's still young, he looks very young, he's a veteran in the field of human resources. He helms the HR department of a public listed company and is actually a sought after person for his experience in dealings with talents. Our other speaker, Ms. Lily Lau, is speaker, trainer, facilitator, and consultant in the fields of communications, corporate culture training, and corporate culture transformation. Okay. She's the only Malaysian who is certified master trainer for colored brain and directive communication psychology. Last week, what we saw was that the importance of being, what are the behaviors or the attitudes that you need to be a good talent. At the same time, we always ask ourselves why we cannot do this, why we can't do that. And Ms. Lily Lau gave us an insight on how actually it is affected by the color of our brain. We could be blue, green, red, or purple. Now that we know, we are trying to, I'm sure many of you were with us last week. Can I have a show of hands on how many of you were with us last week? Rahman, can you start the poll, please? Can you just answer? Okay, I think we can end the poll now. So what we'll see is that we have many newcomers today, all right? But anyway, you can always check it out on our Facebook later on. Mr. Chan will be giving you the link. Now, what was interesting last week was how you can use your, what we have actually, the color, depending on the color of our brains to be, to perform much better, more effectively. So today, we are going to continue with the Pave Your Road to Success to see how another important factor can help us be a better talent. And that is also communications. Now, for many of us, when we talk about communications, we think that it is actually between two parties or three parties or communicating with one another. But in actual fact, communication is also to ourselves. How we tell ourselves or how we talk to ourselves will make a difference sometimes to our mindset, whether we can be better or we can be constructive or destructive. And Miss Lily today will take us to actually what is the impact of the pandemic on the generations? How does it affect us in the different age groups to work together during this time? Okay. So without much further ado, I will pass the floor to Mr. Chan to start. Mr. Chan.
Hi, hello, good morning everyone, and thanks to Miss Mimi. So I would like to share my slide. Okay, can you see the slide? Just a moment, some technical problem over here. Let me share the slide again. Okay, so can you see the slide here? Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, great. So do you remember that the talent pyramid I talked about at the first HR webinar? We discussed about excellent, outstanding, and brilliant. So if you missed the first webinar, please click on the YouTube link below. Yeah, we have the YouTube link below. So please referring to that. So today we will focus on the critical success factor that stand at the top of the talent pyramid, which is period. We need skill to get the job done. Example, a welder needs a good welding skill. So we need the ability to manage human resources, people with different characteristics. In order to be a brilliant, belief and law of attraction are the fundamental key to success. So this is the area discussion of today. So I combine mindset, behavior, and actions. That is the three elements are interrelated. So I combine it into belief and law of attraction. Okay, so let us do an experiment. Look at the photo. Okay, look at the photo. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let us come with the pool. Which one attract your attention? Okay, let us have a pool now. So just refer to the picture just now. Which one attract your attention? Are you still remember that? Can you respond here? Okay, I get the answer. Okay, very good. Let us have another 10 seconds. Okay, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we end the pool now. Okay, so I share the result so all of us can look at it. So fried chickens, most of the audience choose fried chicken. Yes, great. Okay. So the highest score is the fried chicken. So for those who choose fried chicken, I firmly believe that you are hungry right now. You want it, and you will soon find a way to get it. Okay. So do you know why your attention focus on that particular photos? It's nothing to do with your memory and your concentration. The fact is, you choose to see what you want to see, not what I want to show. I repeat again, because that is quite important. The fact is, you choose what you want to see, not what I want to show. So I will present it more scientifically. Do you know that in your brain, there is a part of you called reticular activating system? So the short form is RAS. So RAS is a search engine, like a Google or Yahoo inside your brain. So when you are hungry, subconsciously RAS will search and filter all the data stored in your memory, and your eyes will look at the picture of fried chicken uncontrollably. So let's take a little deeper of it. We have a filter in our brain. Every piece of information passes through our brain and we will filter it. Okay, we seek information that confirm what we already believe, and we will take that as. If not, we will just ignore it or even argue for it. Just for example, okay, I'm saying Mimi. Okay, Mimi is a pretty lady. So some people will reply me and say, oh yes, I agree with you. However, some people disagree and say, I don't think so. So for these two group of people, we'll start arguing and prove that what they believe is true. So can you see that? So that's why the same page of screen provokes such a different reaction. Nothing to do with the position of the photos. It's nothing to do with the size of the photos and others. It's everything with your belief. How you see the world and the world view. Okay. Have you tried this? When you are going to buy something, just for example, Proton X70, I have a car over there, Proton X70. So for example, you begin to search for relevant information regarding Proton X70. So, and then all of a sudden, you go down the street. Hey, seems like many Proton X70 with different color on the road. Yeah, so many people with same taste with me. So this is because of your RAS. Okay, the summary over here is you get what you focus on. So focus on what you want. Remember, the result will be determined by your inner world. Okay, not the world outside of you. It creates a condition of your life. You can choose to give, to pay attention or not. So your future is determined by your current choices. So today, please put your focus on this webinar. I believe you will benefit from it. Okay, so have you read the book of The Secret? Yeah, maybe you have heard the law of attraction. What we discussed earlier is part of the law of attraction. Law of attraction is the ability to attract into our life whatever we are focusing on. It is not something complicated or magical things. Okay, in basic terms, all thoughts turn into things eventually. What you focus on, expand. To understand the law of attraction, okay, sorry, okay. So to understand the law of attraction, first you have to understand that you are human magnet. So I am human magnet. So you attract into your life the people, the things, the resources, the ideas in harmony with your dominant thought. You always attract people into your life in harmony with your current experience, knowledge, and wisdom. It means that your life only gets better if you getting better. Okay, so let's look at the talent pyramid that I mentioned it in the first page. All the successful person have these 4 personality traits. They have the ability to attract, influence, convince, and control people around them. Try to recall it. Who is the successful person in your mind? Do they have these 4 personality traits? Let us apply the law of attraction to the 4 personality traits. Okay, first we talk about convince. Okay, have you realized that we tend to convince others to believe what we believe? Okay, however, convince yourself first before convincing others. Yep. So everything begins with the heart. Okay, so we believe that, yeah, look at this. Okay, we believe that you have many of goals in your life, but do you still remember how do you motivate yourself to achieve it? I believe that you have many methods to inspire yourself, am I right? So one of the method is you post a notice in the place, okay, you often walk by, and maybe on your study tables, and there are many small notices over there, always remind you that I want to be a manager, I want to be a popular singer or something that. But do you think that is really work for you? Okay, just for example, okay, the guy is lying on the sofa and say, I want money and I want money. Do you think that he will get it? So how the law of attraction really works? Okay, that is the power of I am. We have to say I am instead of I want. I'm not asking you to be a liar. Okay, this is not external communications. This is internal communications. What you say to yourself all the time in your mind. Okay, can you see yourself being that? Before you get the result, you need to see yourself as that person, not get the result first, then become that person. So if you're an executive and have a dream of becoming a manager, always tell yourself that you are the managers, okay, and handle all the difficulties like a manager. So I firmly believe that you will get the position very soon. So you can look at the guy actually singing in the bathroom. Yeah, that is what is the law of attraction really works. We have to see yourself acting, thinking, and reacting. Convince yourself you will get what you pay at.
I think we lost Mr. Chan for a while. Chan, can you hear us? Let's send him a message. Chan, can you hear us? Hello. Hello. Tak, okay. Kau ada kat mana ni? Sekejap. Saya tengok online sekejap. Sorry about that, guys. I think we have some technical problem with Mr. Chan. We've lost him, his signal. Lily, are you okay? Do you want to give Mr. Chan a few minutes before maybe you take over?
Yes,
yeah?
I think
so that we don't waste time.
Let's wait for a couple of more minutes. Sometimes I have this experience before. In the middle of it, you know, the line just kicked me out. But on my side, right, I tried to come in again, and that will take a couple of minutes. So let Chan try and come in.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll probably take at least 5 to 7 minutes, you know, and if he can get in, he will get in.
I think in the meantime, you know, we can take off where Chan has been discussing about internal communications, how we should actually, you know, look at ourselves when we want something. What he says is correct. You know, sometimes when you focus on something and you just go on the road, everywhere you go is the thing that you like, you see it. Especially say if you like the color, you know, say if you like the color red, and suddenly everywhere you go is red. You know, you see things, a red book, a red car, and then when you go to the shop to buy something, you are moving towards the red color. That happens very regularly, isn't it, Lily?
Yes, yes. In fact, this RAS that is mentioned by Mr. Chan just now, I also practice it. And I can tell you, it is very powerful. It is in our mind, it's us, right? When you look at something and you are focusing on something, that something is real to you. Okay. No matter what, that's your focus. Okay, now, just an advice to all of you guys who are listening, right? When you are focusing on X, for example, right? When you are, just to give you an example, right? You're looking at me now, right? When you're looking at me and focusing at me speaking, can you be looking at other things that are surrounding you now? The answer is no. Okay, your eyes may be looking, but your mind does not register other things at the same time. So this is what I want to share with you. Be mindful, right? The power of RAS is very good. Okay, it's very focused. It keeps you in focus, but the downside is that, right, you delete, I use the word delete, all other things that's beside you, you just don't see it. Or I should say, you know, you look at it, but you don't see it. Or you see it, but your mind does not register. Would that make sense in you guys?
Yes. I think I know sometimes now that I'm trying to relate to what I do, you know. Okay, Chen, you're back. That's great.
Oh, sincere apologize because the internet connection has something wrong over here.
We were just talking about it, and that was the law of attraction, you know. Chan, remember just before?
Yeah. So now it happens.
So can I continue?
Oh, please.
Yeah, so sorry on that. I think I need to convince the internet as well. How come? Okay, so I back to the slide just now. Sorry about it. So I will start again about the power of I am. Yeah. So I talk about we have to be the person as a managers, and we have to learn how to handle it. And at the same time, that is how the law of attractions really work. You have to see yourself acting, thinking, reacting, copying yourself. You will get what you pay attention to. So tell yourself you are a popular singer, sing loudly in the bathroom, on the street, and anyway. So who say a fat guy cannot be a superstar or YouTuber? So we can look at it. I believe that he is a fat guy as well, right? So yeah, he's so popular, Gangnam Style. So this is actually what we say the law of attraction really works. So we talk about control. Okay, the second is talking about the control. The highest level of control is that you do not deliberately control your action and feelings. You will react subconsciously. So subconscious mind is the primary source of human behavior. Like an iceberg, the most important part of our mind is a part of what we cannot see. Okay, so how to build the subconscious mind? For an example, when you think what you are a businessman, first you have to type in a keyword in your mind, then send out the energy. I am a businessman looking for business opportunity. Repeat it few times until you are completely convinced with no doubt. So your brain is going to scan it every day for you. Like even when you sleep, scan over the place and everywhere. You know because it's all in your brain right now. The IS is always
Since we're having, Chan is having problems again with his internet. We'll give him a few more minutes to reconnect. Today again, I think Chan is facing some issues with his connection. Okay, coming back to from what we were discussing earlier on, when you say that okay, Chan is back. Yes, okay.
Oh, so sorry. I think my internet in the factory here says something wrong. So sorry on that. Understand
Right,
that is a problem. A lot of interruption over here. So sorry. Okay, I will do my best to pass my message to you because I believe that is all very important. Okay, I will share the slide again. Hope that the internet will do me a favor. Okay, so I'm back to here. Yeah, I'm talking about the keywords. Okay, so I'm talking about, try to recall it, I'm talking about the subconscious because subconscious is quite important as well because once we have the subconscious in our mind, so the IS will work for us. Okay, it will scan, it will help us to scan all the things, scan what you want every day for you, even you are asleep. So the subconscious will create action. The place you go, or maybe the new people you meet, you are going to talk about your business plan to the people that you meet. So the world creates a lot of opportunity to you. Okay, so the people who are in the same direction as you, you attracted to you. One thing lead to another. So because of this, many businessmen have successfully changed their traditional models, business nature during the COVID-19 pandemic. So another important point is to control the keywords you type into your mind. Okay, that is quite important as well, the keywords over here. So as a human, as we know, as a human, so we know that we are tend to think negatively, stuff like that. Most news in the newspaper and movie are nothing more than negatively. Then we are designed to grab your attention. It doesn't add any positive energy, okay, to your mind. Another good example is a golf firm. The golf firm. I will feel something always around me, after watching the golf firm. Have you experienced that? So when you have like a bad thought in your mind, something like something always by my side, the more you give out this energy, okay, you're gonna attract bad things to you. For example, I can't sleep well at night, I can't concentrate on work, and repeat the cycle over and over again. So what are the consequences? Can you imagine that? So start from now, type in positive keyword in your mind, upgrade your filtration systems, then you will subconsciously release positive energy to the people around you. So we're talking about the third, that is attract. Attracting is like a bee seeing a beautiful flower and fly there naturally. As mentioned earlier, you always attract people into your life in harmony with your current experience, knowledge, and wisdom. Okay, to get better, to know the person better, first, we should know the people, who is the people surrounding him. Yeah, just for example, a good example is, if you are a gossip person, just for example, if you are a gossip person, most of your friends are just like that. So if you are a hot-tempered boss, most of your subordinates are dishonest people. What is the reason? The reason is that people who disagree with you will leave your company. Still remember that we have learned what we learned from our first experience? Okay? Yeah, so sometimes you try to send out positive energy and you get negative feedback. Don't be depressed, just leave them behind, be positive, and move forward courageously. You will meet the people with the same energy as you. You know that this group of people with negative energy will only remain negative. Do you still remember that we are human magnet? Birds of feather flock together. Okay, so the final trick that I want to talk about attraction is energy. You cannot fake it. You have to give out the pure positive energy, not faking it. Pure positive energy can only be emitted from your heart, not created by words, body language, or beautiful appearance. Okay, so we talk about the fourth, influence. Influence. So most successful persons are good at influencing others. We do our best to work for them without considering any returns or even sacrificing our saving and precious time. How they did it? One of the good example is charity activities. Am I right? Yeah. So do you want to increase your influence? But did you know that you are already a great influencer? Okay, this is one of the experiments. Have you experienced that you walk into a boutique with no customer there? Then suddenly you see that the boutique is crowded with people. Do you know where the power of influence coming from? It's come from your heart. You show your interest in this dress maybe, or maybe that clothes. Unconsciously, you release positive energy. So people around you are influenced by you. So try to practice it later and you can see the result. Okay, imagine that you have a garden. Okay, you have a garden now. If you plant a banana tree over there, what will you get? Banana, right? You won't get apple. But if you don't plant anything, which grow. So if you don't constantly feed your mind with positive energy, what will happen? Which grow. So please take immediate action, sowing the seed of positive energy from now on, and you will get your banana soon. Okay, talk about the summary. Okay, the summary, we just now talking about attract, influence, convince, and control. So the future success is not accident. This is actually all the choices you make from now on. All the successful person have these 4 personality traits. So let's practice it from now on. You can clearly see the differences. Okay, so this is my slide. So I will pass back to Miss Mimi.
Hi, thanks, Chan. Thank you. This is very interesting about how you talk to yourself. Later on, I'll tell you also my experience on how I also psych myself in order to be more confident talking to for public speaking. All right. But let's not waste time with me. Let's go on to the next speaker, Ms. Lily Lau. Now, she's going to be talking about the impact of the pandemic across the generations. You know, how different people, different groups of age groups react differently to the pandemic. Lily, the floor is yours now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mimi, for your introduction, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, this is a bright Friday, and happy Friday, right? Let me share my screen. Just give me a sec here. Okay, can you all see me on the screen? I have, this my special face in front of your PowerPoint. Can you all see? Just give me thumbs up, please.
Yes, we can see you, Lily.
Okay, good, good. So, friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to walk you through in the next 30 to 40 minutes, hopefully. Yeah, I shall make it short and sweet for you guys. Give you an overview about the generations. Okay, now I believe most of you all would know what the the content, and you have been reading or hearing so much about generations. What I want to say here is I spent a fair bit of time researching in particularly Malaysian generation. Okay, so this is where I would like to share my discovery, what I have discovered about Malaysian generation in particular. Now, just to let you know, if you Google, right, generations, or you put Gen Y, Gen X, whatever, right, I guarantee you, right, the information that you can find in the internet, majority of it is about US generation. Okay, hardly you can find anything about Malaysian generation. There would be one or two or three, probably. And, I have gone through all this. And when I read all those that are written about Malaysian generation, most of the references are still based on US, right? I'm not saying that they are wrong. What I'm saying is that, we need to have our own version of who the Malaysian generations are, right? Let me walk through with you and give you an overview on this. And for today's session in particularly, right, it is the focus on the COVID, right? For already almost 18 months, all of us are, is it 18 or 16 months, we are stuck, at home, not being able to go out or do, the way how we used to do things, right? And what is the impact to all the 4 generations, right? So I will walk you through on this, right? Oh yeah, this is a little bit about me. In addition to what Mimi have said, just to give you, again, a quick overview of who am I and, where do I come from, right? I've been in the training industry for the past 15 years, and my highest accolade is actually the Master's Certification, Master Certified for Directive Communication Psychology, and also Colored Brain. Right, so I can do, I can certify people. If any one of you who are interested, you can join my class, and you can be a licensee, right, by me, right. And if you look at the picture, I received the Best DC Master Trainer Awards for 2 consecutive years. Yeah, so this is something that I'm proud to say that. In Malaysia, I have certified over 100 people, right, of what I do. I mean, basically, I have 2 areas of passion in my training workshops. One is, about Colored Brain. Colored Brain is part of the DC content, and then generation. Generation is something that, I often share a lot and talk a lot about it, because it is something very different, and most Malaysians are not aware, right? So I would like to share that with you and walk through with you, right? Now, before we go in further, because we are talking about generation, age is a factor here, and it makes a difference of where you come from and all that, right? Let's do a poll, and I would like to know what is your age gap, right? I'm not really asking you for your age per se, but which category you are in. Kindly just answer it. Okay. Okay, good. Give you another like 5 more seconds. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now. Yep, this is very interesting. And I will share the results. So the demographic of this group of participants majority or 50% of you guys is in the category of born between 1971 to 1980, yeah, right? And we have 2 persons here who are born before 1960, 2 persons, okay, in this category, 6 persons in this category, and we only have 1, which is, so this looks like this person is the youngest among of you all, you know, and there's none who are born after 2001. Okay, I got it. Thank you very much. And it gives me an indication, right? This particular group, right? Okay, sorry, I'm not sure whether did I press share results while talking, so I have pressed it one more time. So this will be the results, just to let you guys have a look at it, right? So I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay. Okay, let's continue from here. Now, what is the impact at the workplace by each generation? Okay, and what I'm going to share with you here, as said earlier, is based on my personal research in particularly. And before I go in further, I would like to explain, right, what is the definition of generation? It is not just by year born. By the year born is only one of the other few criteria to define what generation is, right? So do not just say, oh, I'm born in 1971, I'm in this generation. Well, you are not wrong, but it is too simplistic, okay? Because based on what I realize, every country should have their own definition of generation. Why? Because all of us in different countries, we have different history, we have different economic development, we have different culture. And we cannot just take everything, you know, and equate that we are like US. That was one area of differentiation that I discovered. Okay, and as a result, that sprouted me to go into this topic deeper, and I actually, you know, saw a lot of differences. There are similarities, okay? We are still human in many, you know, I mean, we are still human, right? However, because of the culture, because of the country history that forms our mindset, that, you know, and because of the different economic development that we are going through, we are different from US, right? So we cannot say that US Gen Y is the same as Malaysian Gen Y. There are similarities and there are differences, okay? And a lot of it is also based on your upbringing that defines your mindset. And one very important factor is the exposure to technology, okay? And, you know, the whole Gen Y came out, it is because of technology, right? But the question is every Gen Y super tech savvy? Not necessary, right? Truly, I have met Gen Y, right, who are not tech savvy at all. So their mindset is more like the Gen X type, right? Because they don't think in the way, you know, of using technology in the way that they do things. So that is already one difference. And I have met Gen X who are so tech savvy. So they have the mindset of a Gen Y. So because of all this discovery, right, I kind of like, you know, come up with my own definition of what is the definition required before you can decide, you know, which generation that you are in. Right now, for me, at the end of the day, you decide your own generation based on a few criteria that I have said. Right? Do not put yourself in the box. Oh, I'm this, and you are being stereotyped. You know the word stereotype? You know, especially in the market, right? People, you know, especially the boomers, you know, will always stereotype about Gen Y, right? And the Gen Y will always stereotype about the boomers. Why? Because these two have the greatest conflict at the workplace. They are like, you know, parents and son or daughter, that kind of relationship, right? Because of the age gap, right? The Gen Y will always, you know, regard the boomers as, you know, not tech savvy lah, grumpy lah, cannot change lah, cannot accept this lah. Whereas the Gen Y, to them, this is what is natural. So all this, at the end of the day, right, this is the age factor that determines your mindset, that determines being who you are. And because all of us are in the workplace now, is do you have that understanding so that we can work together better, right? So as what I put here, right? Be caution. Do not over, dependent. Use this as a knowledge. It is very good, but do not, label people and stereotype. That will be unhealthy, yeah, right? Now, this is a summary of my study, yeah, right? Now, if you look at it, right, based on my study, I focus on baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z, right? Now, for baby boomers, I also call them Merdeka baby. This is our own Malaysian version, not US version, right? Why? Because of 1957 factor, if you look at here, right, they are somewhere in between. So a lot of baby boomers, right, those who were born, okay, in general, baby boomers came about because they were born after World War, right? World War ended in 1945. So the baby boomers, so-called the name baby boomer, right? Because in reality, in US and many other countries, US, China, India, Indonesia, all these, they have baby boomed after World War. But Malaysia, we were Malaysia, so that's why I said history make a difference. You must understand history, right? We were Malaysia back then. We didn't have baby boom. Our population was very small, okay? If you look at the statistics of Malaysia, our so-called baby boomed is the Gen Y. They make up the biggest category by age. So do understand all these factors before you label people, before you take in all this. All of each country is very different, okay? So baby boomers came in some other countries, literally they were baby boomers. The baby boomed, right? So the factor about baby boomers is because of the World War II factor. They did not experience the war, but they experienced the effect after the war, right? In US, Japan, Europe, they went through World War II. Now, Malaysia, if you know the history, right? We were only affected when the Japanese came for 1.5 years during the World War II period. Some of the stories you may have heard from your grandparents, right? If you have heard it, those are the real stories, right? How they have gone through it, because things were bad, people were in poverty, there was not enough food, right? Now, if you were born during that time, what is your mindset? It is about survival, right? So you grew up in survival mode, okay? So you tend to be very frugal in your life, even though, right, there are so many baby boomers became business tycoon in Malaysia, right? But their lifestyle is still so simple. They eat porridge, they eat ikan bilis only, because that's what they grew up. Now, that is the mindset. It has nothing to do with money because of the era that you were born. Okay, eventually, right? If you read Malaysia, we have so many, famous tycoon or people who are successful, not necessarily to be tycoon, right? Because of all this, right? You value money in a different sense. You were needing it as for survival, right? And this generation, although at the workplace now, sorry, I think there's a typo here. It would be, sorry, I just realized it. The youngest baby boomers in Malaysia is 19 up to 57 years old. The 6 year is a typo, right? So if you look at that, right, they are still working for those who are in this category, but this category, I think they're all, enjoying their life here. So there is still a population in the market, and even though some who are retired now, they are still active and they are still, doing something, right? Now, the question here is, what can we learn from them? Right? So this is where, you need to understand they have a vast experience, and by study, baby boomers have the best interpersonal skills. Why? Everything is DIY, everything is, face to face. they are very good communicator. Okay, so this is just to let you know why, because that is how things were when they grew up. Yeah. Then, I will quickly go into Gen X. I call the Malaysian Gen X the sandwich. Now, I'm referring to Malaysian. Why? Because they are sandwiched between baby boomers and Gen Y at the workplace. Right now, they are regarded as the middle management in many senses, right? The middle management, or they are on the verge to be the senior management. But nevertheless, right? They have spent many years working, and they have to report to the higher authority, which most of them are the baby boomers, right? And their subordinates definitely are the millennials, Gen Y. And in my study, Gen X is the most adaptable and agile in character. Why? Because they understand, because if you look at here of this age category that they are born with, that is the period where Malaysia was really starting to grow, to industrialize, right? So the key influencing factor in Malaysia for Gen X is industrialization. When they come out to work, right, in the early 20s, late 1980s, early 1990s, Malaysia was booming as a country. In fact, for Malaysia, our golden era is in the 1990s. That's where our economy was having high growth, high GDP. There were lots of money. Okay, and Gen X came out into the labor force at that moment of time, right? So they contributed a lot to the development and growth of Malaysia. And then you have Gen Y. Now, Gen Y is the most talked about or being most criticized in general, right? The oldest now is already 36 years old. Youngest is 21, right? Thereabouts, right? Now, if you look at my definition, I put our Malaysian Gen Y is from 1985. In US, it is from 1980. Why? Okay, now this is again based on my study, right? US is a developed country far ahead of Malaysia. Advanced. Their technology is advanced. Silicon Valley was developed in 1980s in US. You think about it, in 1980s, where were we? We were just slowly coming up. We were an agriculture. Were there technology? Very little, right? Our technology, right? Multimedia super corridor was only created in 1996. Up till 1996, hardly. Okay, and that was the fiber optics, the infrastructure. Right now, of course, we have it, right? Without infrastructure, you cannot have all this internet. We needed that, and it was only developed, built in 1996. So our technology only came in thereafter, and if you recall, Maxis, DG, TM, right, in a way, in the late 1990s, that means 1999 year 2000. Those were the times where, the market opened up and there were so many, handphone packages that came into the market, right? At that time, the most famous handphones, Nokia, Motorola, Ericsson, if you can recall, right? I bought my first handphone. I can't remember exactly, neither can I remember the model, but it is a big one, right? And I remember I signed up, right, for $399. For $399, I can get a handphone and I can get a mobile package. And all this was made possible because MSC was developed, right? And before that, don't even talk about it, okay? So based on that kind of economic development taking place, our Gen Y were teenage at that point of time, okay? And that's where they became very excited and they embraced technology. And that was also when, Microsoft came in, Gmail, right, came in. It was the first generation, right? Everything came in the late 1990s, first generation, right? And that's where the Gen Y, for those who like it, they embraced it. And they were the ones who learned it and pick it up. And They all learn it by themselves. You don't have a course to attend all this. You don't have a class. Nobody can teach you at the point of time. They all learn it by themselves. And that's where, they start to understand, they absorb all this technology, right? Of course, we have Gen X who also learn it. But what I'm saying here is, what happened to you during your growing age is a big factor in determining your generation mindset. That is what I want to say, right? So if you are growing up as a teenage, what is your level of exposure to gadgets and technology, right? If you have already embraced all that, as you grow and as you go along, right? How you adopt and accept all this is much easier compared to a baby boomer. I am born in the year, looking at age, right? By age, I'm a baby boomer, right? But my mindset, just let me share with you, I consider myself ex-boomers. If you look at the bottom here, right? Now, I have also come up with hybrid group. Why? Because I have seen many people, when I talk to them and all that, they don't entirely fall into boomers or X or Y. There's like a little bit in between is a crossover, right? It is because around that era, that period of time, that was how things were. And that was your influence. Okay, so there is the hybrid group. Myself, I acknowledge I will define myself as ex-boomers. So I'm neither entirely boomer, neither entirely X. I'm somewhere in between, mixed, right? And in fact, right, in the workplace, there is a huge category of XY type. They understand, they have that quality. What is the quality of X? Work smart. Okay, now boomers is work hard, X is work smart. Y is play hard and work hard. Z, don't know yet. Z, not sure yet, right? Okay, so that's the point, right? So they, so we have a lot who are in this generation and they understand the needs of the X and Y, right? So they also, especially the X now, the advantage of the X can relate to boomers quite easily. Okay, and X can relate to Gen Y quite easily, right? Now, then you have Z coming now, which I will talk about it in a short while. This is another gap, right? So, so my definition for Malaysian Gen Y is from 1985 to year 2000, right? 2000 is the millennium year, right? And definitely, that is the thing, during back then, when people talk about technology and all that, right? So the influencing factor for that, for Gen Y is technology, but it is more, at the early age type of technology, right? But as now technology have changed a lot and so advanced, right? So there comes the Z. Z, right? They are the smart tech generation, right? It is all about the apps. If you go back to a little bit old style, old generation technology, the Z don't understand. Because when they were born, right, Facebook was out, WeChat, all those were out in the market already, right? So they are the user of those types, right? Now, by my category, right, our Z is from 2001. I put until 2016, I put a question mark because I am still, studying, not exactly sure whether the Z ends here and the next generation after Z is Alpha, right? Whether the Alpha is from 2017 or not, I don't have an exact indication right now, right? But in US, if you look at all these years, right, Gen Y starts from 1980 until 1994, okay? Gen Z starts from 1995, okay, up till about 2010, thereabout. Okay, so from 2011 onwards in US, it's all Alpha, right? So I have this kind of hybrid because I met many people, they will tell me they belong to this group more. So I have given you here an overview, then you understand, where you come from and you will appreciate, right, the people that you are dealing with better. So for baby boomers, right, their generational mission is to work hard and they work very hard. Why? Poverty. They have no choice, right? If you have this this term, right, lifelong employment, it truly applies to baby boomers. You look around, right? Does your parent only work for one company? Majority of the baby boomers are like this, right? It is how they think. They only want security, right? They may not truly like their job, right? I've talked to quite a few, right? But they don't mind to stay because it is the mindset, right? So at the workplace, at their age, they are oldies. They have a whole lot of wisdom, right? Whether, do you appreciate and value what they have? Now, if you are in Gen Y and Gen Z, right, this is something, right? You think about it. When your parents, when your grandparents tell you things, teach you things, right? Do you listen, embrace, or do you resist, right? Things like that, yeah? To me, they are still values. And how are they coping? Now, when comes COVID, right? Last year in March 2020, right? We went through this whole pandemic and we were in a lockdown, right? By my study, right? Baby boomers were the most affected group. Up till before MCO came in, life was just normal as how you want to do it, right? Everything is as is where it is, right? Until the lockdown came in, right? Then you cannot go out, you cannot do shopping, you cannot do your banking, you cannot, so many things. That actually causes lots of stress, right? Those baby boomers who are willing to learn and embrace technology, many of them last year, that was the first time they do internet banking. That was the first time maybe, right, they use Grab online. If not, before that, they rely on their children, they rely on someone to do it, and they think it's not needed, right? That is, that was the first time, right? And during, if you recall, the last year MCO, it was riot time also, right? So that was the first time because cannot go back to kampong, right? That's where, they started to use Zoom, to use Skype, to do, online meetings with their families and all that, right? So this is the group, right, that really they went through lots of stress. How to do it, right? Now, some, they only, get their children or somebody else to set up everything and they just go in, for example, now go into this virtual, but they may not know what button to press. But some, of course, they will learn, they want to learn. Now, it all depends, right? What level do they want to accept the technology? If they are the type who are adventurous, they want to do it, they learn something. They learn something and they find it, oh, okay, different, right? It is something new. But there are those type who totally think that they don't need it. They will think that technology is not for me. And if even by now, after, we have gone through 16 months of MCO, if they have not adopted technology, chances that they will not, right? And if you talk to all those baby boomers, what is their comment, right? They will say that if given a choice, they want to go back things as they were, right? I can't blame them. This is where they are, right? So this is how, because baby boomers, when they were born, right? It is silent. There was, some even born at home, right? Of course, most people will go to the hospital, but right, there was no music when they came out. And now, right, a lot of babies, they already listen to music when they are in the stomach, right? So very different. So what nurtured their mind is very different, okay? So what is the impact to baby boomers? They are the leaped most forward in adopting technology during this era. Comparatively, when I say all this is in comparison with the 4th generation, right? And yeah, so I have said that, right? They are the most stressed, having to relearn simple things in life, right? Some complain, some will just do it. Whatever it is, you have to understand, right? For those who have grandparents at home, right? If you can teach them, guide them, handhold them. Now, if they ask you, sometimes, even simple steps they don't understand, right? Have empathy for them, right? They are not born, and all that. So have empathy, teach them, guide them, hold their hands, right? Walk them through. And if they want to learn, they will learn, right? This is what I think, right? So I will move on. Then we talk about Gen X. Now, Gen X is the category that, to me, I call them, they are still in the midlife, right? Between mid-30s to mid-50s, right? This is the age group for Gen X. At the workplace, right, they are the sandwich because of the boomers as their superior, and their subordinates are mostly Gen Y, right? Now, their mission, generational mission, is to have balance. Why? Because this is the generation that carry the most responsibility. What do I mean by that? Right? They at their home, right? They will have 3 generations staying together. Their parents, themselves, and their children. Right? They have to take care of their parents, and they have their own children to take care. So in terms of responsibility, they shoulder the most. And they still have 15 more or 20 more years of career that they need to go through. So as a person working, right, they still need to go through that, and they need to strive and work hard to earn what they need to do, right? So the key word here is they need to balance between work and personal life. Now, this term, work-life balance, everybody thinks it's a Gen Y thingy. You are wrong. In my study, Gen X is most dire for work-life balance, okay? Gen Y is not really work-life balance, it is work-life integration. I will talk about it a little bit more. This is my study, I have confirmed that, but people do not understand that, yeah? So work-life balance is most badly needed by Gen X, okay? So in terms, how are they coping for during the pandemic? Right now, Gen X in general, right? There are 2 types. X-boomers type, you are more towards the boomers type, or you are more towards the Y type. I call them the Gen Y, right? It all depends which sites you are in, right? Of course, the boomers, X-boomers type, more they are like boomer, but they still have the X qualities. Right? But it doesn't mean that, they cannot adopt the technology. Yes, they can, slightly better than baby boomers, right? Of course, the Gen X Y type is very much like the Gen Y, yeah? So, so that is how they are coping. And in general, they are pragmatic. They understand the reality of the situation and are willing to strive and thrive in order for further success in their life career, right? So for the impact of the pandemic, I term them as medium level, right? Not too bad. Okay, doing pretty well, yeah? So far, so good. I hope you guys can catch me, right? Then comes Gen Y. Now, this is the most criticized group, right? Well, it is not as bad now, but let's say 5 years ago, right? Back then people complain a lot about Gen Y, but now our Gen Y are maturing, right? And they're holding high posts also, right? Now, the key point here is their generational mission is creativity, right? Now, this creativity is from the perspective of using technology. They know and understand the power of technology and what it can be done to transform companies, right? Now, imagine if you have a company that is already 40 years old in the market. That means this company was started by traditionalists. The generation before baby boomers was traditionalists. It could be started by traditionalists and baby boomer working together, right? By age, right? Then the Gen X is kind of like, help to build this company up, right? So everything is from non-technology started, right? All the way now. And they have become successful and stable. Then comes this Gen Y. When he goes into this company, he may think that this is very old, very tradition, very old school, right? So he is thinking, how this technology can help, how that technology can help. And that's where, the conflict starts, right? Because the baby boomers will insist that he do it this way, my way, because this is the way that we have been using for the past 20 years and it has been successful. You continue to use it, right? There comes this Gen Y. He does not agree and he does not believe, right? So in the office, in the workplace, that's where those kind of conflict, right? And this truly, right, is the challenges for companies that need to transform. This is a reality that needs to transform, especially digitally. And now because of COVID and pandemic, right, those companies who are lagging behind, who are unable to transform, it could be because they have not realized the generational factor in their company. Because to me, your team members, their age group can, if you know that and understand the factors, right, it tells you, right, how fast you can leapfrog, how fast you can go, right? If your majority are baby boomers, then how? Your strategies have to be different. If your majorities are Gen Y, then you have an easier strategy to deal with, because we are talking about digital transformation now, right? This is the era. If you still do not have some form of transformation plan, if you still believe that things will be the same after COVID, right? Then I'm sorry to say that, there's nothing much we can do if you are not ready, right? Because now is the time to get yourself ready and get it done, right? You may be suffering in terms of business, but now you have to do things differently, right? So who are your team members? Who are the people? And all this helps you to propel your digital transformation in different ways, right? Now, in general, this group, right, there are two types. I call them the why as in the question mark why, right? Or the whine type, the whiny type, right? Why? Because in general, in Malaysia, right, if you recall what I said, 1990s were the golden era of Malaysia. And that's when the Gen Y was born and they were growing up. So in general, Gen Y is the most blessed group compared to the past two previous generations, right? They were the most blessed group and they have almost everything, right? They were money to spend. And in fact, by study, they are the spenders, right? They are the spenders. They don't mind, to splurge and buy this and buy that. And they wanted lifestyle. That's them, lifestyle, right? Compared to boomers, you give them money, ask them to have lifestyle, they will still go back to the traditional ways, right? You can't change that, right? It is not about money anymore. It is about your upbringing and what determines your mindset, right? So that's where, a lot of them were very comforted and spoiled as they were growing up. They have everything, right? A lot of their parents will spend money on them, make sure that they study, and they don't really need to work hard to strive for life, right? I'm generalizing, but this is what happened as a whole, right? As again, right, when I talk about generation, it is a general topics as a whole because it is a very, very wide, right? So in general, people talk about, Gen Y, don't like to work hard and all that. That's the truth. Why? Because of all this economic scenario behind the scene that influenced them when they were growing up, right? And you talk about resignation. This is the generation that they dare to throw you the letter within 24 hours. You ask a baby boomer dare to do or not? They will say, I want, I wish. You ask an X are smarter. They will plan, they will get the next job, then they throw it to you. But Gen Y, doesn't matter. I don't have a job, it doesn't matter. I always go back home. They don't think in that, and they are the ones who just pop, throw that letter to you, right? Maybe you have to ask Mimi, and some Chan, right? Why? Because they were born during different times, under different economic influence, right? So this is the background, right? And they are termed to be very disloyal because Gen Y are looking for lifestyle, right? What I can do to have my passion, right? And they are in fact the influencer that propel the gig economy. And now this whole gig economy is being more solidified after the COVID now. It's been accepted, people do understand. And it is really influencing the Gen Z now. If you look at it, right, a lot of Gen Z, they want to be entrepreneur. They don't want to go into the 9 to 5, right, employment, right? Because they are talking more about freedom and all that. Again, a different, right? Times has changed further, right? So we are slowly, it has evolved, right? I will come into that in a short while, right? And if you talk about COVID pandemic, right, in terms of technology, to a Z, nothing much has changed, right? They are there. They are still using all this technology. And in fact, there are new technology that came up, new apps that came up, right? It helps them even better, right? So this is, what has influenced, right? Now, again, the Malaysia scenario, right? A lot of Gen Y have PT-PTN loan. And PT-PTN as a body was incorporatized in 1997. Again, that's the time for Gen Y, right? Before that, I mean, it's either your parents are well off, you can go and study or whatever, right? But Gen Y is the generation that have huge debt in Malaysia, right? A lot of them went through study. Things may not be like a bed of roses. You study, you graduate, you get high pay job, not necessary, So that ended up a lot of Gen Y having lots of debt. And after getting, after graduated, you started to get jobs, then you want to get married, you want to have houses, blah, 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 right? All that kind of like incremental. So comparatively, right, Gen Y do have financial difficulties to deal with, right, compared with other generation. Now, to me, this is my personal study, and I'm still kind of going through. If you are a Gen Y parent and now you're still struggling to pay off your debt because of all these loans that you have taken, do you want to get your children who is Z or Alpha to take the loans in future? Now, to me, it all has impact from one generation to another generation. That is something that I'm eager to learn and study some more, right? Right. So things like this is what I mean. This is the real generational factor. Yeah. I have to quickly go through, right? This is the Gen Z. The most important thing to talk about Gen Z, because now, right, due to COVID, schools is done online. And this is the generation that study is entirely done online. And that has a different impact on the learning and the growing of the mindset. Okay, now the difference of Gen Y with Z, our Y still went through the school's old way. There is technology, but they learn going to class, physical, right? Do assignment, everything physical. Very different. Our Gen Y now, totally online. It would have an impact in their growing up. How are they going to interact? What would the interpersonal skills be like? Something we need to be aware of and we need to study, right? 10 years from now, 15 years, 20 years, when they go into the market, how is it like? I don't know. This is a journey that all of us are going through. Okay, now after COVID, when they can go back to school, how will school be done now? Is it a blended or fully back to old style? I don't think people, now they have seen the both, right? I think it should be blended in some form, right? So a lot of questions. And how about sports, right? For a baby boomer like me, I learned through playing, all interactive physical action. But now everything is gaming online style, right? And now even more intense, right? For the Y, right? For the Z, because Y can still go out and play, but Z now cannot go out and play, right? All those of you who have a Z children, right? Something to be mindful of, not to say that it is bad, but that's the way life is now, right? So how are they coping? The most impact is their studies, right? And in US, just to give you a big overview here, the difference between Y and Z, right? Y are optimistic people, they are spenders. Z In fact, they are more prudent, they are more of a realist, because when they were born, even in US, right, when the Z were born, there were few bad incidents like 911 happened, right? That have an influence in their growing up, right? In US went through a Great Depression, in a recession in 2008, right? And now COVID pandemic, right? Even in Malaysia, we have our financial crisis in 1999, but that Gen Z is not born yet. But our economy started to go on a flat scale after the financial crisis. And Malaysia never really picked up, if you know what I'm talking about, right? And in the last 5 years or so, right, inflation was very high. So the cost saving is the word at home. So if you have been hearing your parents say that, oh, cannot spend now, you cannot, you have to save, blah, blah, blah. What is the impact on this Gen Z child? So our Z, right, is truly more as a realist. They understand. Don't think that they don't understand, right? With all this COVID now, right, they are even more aware, of health, hygiene, which, X and boomers may have taken it lightly. Do you see? Right? Why maybe a little bit 50-50 lah. Right? So Z is very different from Y, right? And the key point here is their lifestyle is everything connected with technology. They don't understand what life is if you go send them to the forest without technology. They may not be able to survive. Okay, so that's one difference here, right? About all this, right? And education, right, is going to change. To me, I don't know who is the new education minister, right? Last round, I was hoping our old education minister can do something to transform, because this is badly needed. Because this is about our next generation and next generation. Our education system has not changed at all since baby boomers' time. Do you see how outdated it is? Okay, right now, I've been talking a lot, whatever it is, right? All generations have the same vital instinct because we are all human, right? It's just that how they display the instinct that is different. How people need to be motivated is very different, right? What used to motivate boomers, that strategy cannot motivate Gen Y or Gen Z. You need to understand that, right? So as an employer company, you need to have, right, different strategy. One size fits all no longer work. And now even more so in the new normal that we are talking about, right? So how are you going to adopt and adapt your technology, right? Which is essential. You need to have different strategies for different generations. Okay. Right. So definitely, as I said, right, Internet of Things is essential, and our Z is up and coming, right? Are you ready as in the workplace? Right? If you are still complaining about Gen Y and you still have not understood about Gen Y, what more about Gen Z? Yeah, right? So, okay, Mimi, I'm going to take a few more minutes from here and I will send the mic back to you, right? I will do a poll here, right? Let's do a poll. Since this is so interesting, might as well continue. And let's see, right? Okay, now after listening to me, I've been talking a lot. Just make your choice. What generation do you think you are in? There's no wrong or right here. Just, have fun. Wow, okay. This is pretty interesting. Okay, I give you 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Come on, a few more. I think this will be good. Okay, good. I'm going to end the poll now. Let's see the results. Wow, among this group, right? Majority of you regard you as Gen XY. Congratulations. We have one person who is a baby boomer, not by age, by the way, right? Okay, 30% is X, and then 20% is Y, and we have Y, Z type, very good, but no no Z type. Okay, never mind. Good, good. I'm happy, right? And hang on, just one more. Now, any of you who are interested to find out a little bit more, I have a survey here. Okay, now this survey is to understand which generation that you are from, and I will type in the text chat so that you can hang on, sorry, just let me. Okay, I'm putting in a text chat. If you're interested, just go in. It'll take you roughly 3 minutes. The results will be sent to you within 24 hours or so, right? This is for fun. It is for fun. It's not so much based on any technical aspect of that. This is based on preference choice, and that will determine your mindset. Yeah. Okay. Now with that, I give the mic back to Mimi.
Okay. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Chan. Also, today we have a very interesting topic, two topics covered. One, we talk about our communications, how we communicate to ourselves, how we program our mind in order to be more positive and focus on the positive side. The more we focus on the negative thing, like Chan was saying, if you watch a horror movie or a ghost story, you keep on fearing that there is a ghost just beside you or something bad is going to happen because you focus too much on it. But if you focus on the good things, focus on the positive things, you find that things are happening better. You tend to be able to see results better because your mind is open, more positive towards new things. And Lily has kind of broached on the subject of generations. In an office, definitely you cannot be working all together with the same age group. You're going to find some people who are older, some are younger, and how we fit into this whole organization, how we actually communicate in an organization that consists of so many, it will actually impact on what we achieve at the end. Now, and also on the succession plan, how we are moving from generation baby boomers to Y, and then now to Z and maybe to Alpha. So, and how we actually behave during this pandemic, how we react to this pandemic. It's also it's also dependent on how or what time we were born. Because if you are in generation Y, as I looked at it just now, who play hard, work hard, during this pandemic, you find that many of them have changed to become entrepreneurs because they are willing to change. They want to maintain their lifestyle. They don't want to sit back and wait for something. Whereas Generation X, they are more careful, they plan, but they know they need to make changes. The baby boomers are more resilient. They accept that things are going to be like this for a while. They sit back and they wait. But at the same time, they know that they need to change because they need to move into technology. They need to pay things online, and you see how many baby boomers are actually talking to their children using WhatsApp chat and things like that. So things are moving at the speed. At what speed we don't know because it depends on where you are and how you actually react. Okay. So now I'm opening the questions to the floor. If we have any questions, so far we have, okay, I think we have a Miss Linang who wants to ask a question. Are you still around, Miss Linang? Miss Linang? Okay, she wanted to ask a question earlier on. Okay, anyway, so Chan, I really like the idea of, what you said about talking to yourself, building up to an image, because when I was much younger, much younger, I was really afraid to do public speaking. I would become Minnie Mouse. My voice would just spiral up into this squeaky voice, and it's really scary. But I would stand in front of the mirror every day and tell myself, I am good, until eventually it becomes a thing of the past. I still do have these moments of fear when I need to do public speaking, but this positive approach of pushing yourself, telling yourself, does help. So, Chan, you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, thanks a lot. Yeah, agree with what you say, because the power of I am, it means that you are in that position. Yeah. So most of the time, you just talk to someone, or maybe just put a notice and say, I want this and I want that. But in the final, you can't get it, because I want is something like desire. I want it. But if you change the words to become I am, so you will always play the role. Yeah. So we always play the role and say, I am the person. I will take all this accountability. I will overcome all these difficulties. So that is the first step toward success. Yeah, Miss Mimi, you've done a good job. Yeah.
No, I'm still struggling. I can see. Okay, Lily, talking about generations across in the office. I'm sure before, while you are working, and also now, you are dealing as a trainer, as a consultant. You find that certain generations, we don't open up easily. That means we are more afraid. We are not so bold as to express our thoughts or our feelings. But there's also some generations that are too bold, that when they ask you a question, they just blurt it out without the kind of, filtering, so to speak. Now, how do you balance that? How do you balance being bold at the same time being, mindful of others, when you want to express yourself? How do we balance that in generations?
Okay, I think Mimi, my take is that, right, the quality of being bold has a lot to do with our culture, right? Now, our culture is a culture. When I say our culture, here I'm generalizing Malaysian, right? In general, we are never taught to be bold and be expressive. I'm talking about in school. You agree with me, isn't it? Right? So a lot of our people, when they start to go into the workplace, that's where they don't dare to express. Now, this is general, regardless of whatever, even Gen Y. Now, based on my study, in general, if you read about characters of Gen Y, they will tell you they are very vocal. That's US Gen Y. I agree. But when I study Malaysian Gen Y, not necessarily why culture comes in. Okay, in Malaysia, I think you are being taught, not to express. However, our Gen Y, they may not express in a meeting, right? They may not express when the boss is in front or there, here and there, right? Right? So it is due to that sensitivities and culture that they are being, I mean, this is not taught in school, but this is just being who we are. They express in the social media. That's the difference.
So that's when danger sets in, when you express yourself in the social media, it could be misinterpreted by others.
Yes. Okay. So that's the difference, right? Now, baby boomers, to me, baby boomers has the most finesse in the interpersonal skills, if you agree with me, right? Then X is a little bit in between, right? There's some dilution, as time goes by because of education also, right? But boomers, they won't use social media as the first choice. Now maybe cannot, but a few years ago may not be, right? Right? They still want to have meetings, face-to-face meetings. They still want to see you. Some still, well, I don't know, right? Some still write letters. I don't know. Right?
Yeah, some of them they still write letters. Yes, agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you look at that, we talk about communication. How would a Gen Y wants to communicate, and now Gen Z, right? If you talk about customer service, my customer service concept, if you talk about it, right? Most common that I like it is like over the phone. I have anything I call help desk, whatever, right? But nowadays it's a live chat for the Y and Z. That's the first thing. I won't think what to do, but that's the first thing my daughter would think what to do. Do you see the difference?
Yeah. Okay. Then how can I relate this? This Y, Z with baby boomers. How do I go back to you, Chandan, to say that how do they use this? The power of the mind. Okay, being in different generations. How can what a baby boomer actually reinforce in their mind, that I am good, or would they not do it at all? What is the normal trend for this? I'm curious to know would a baby boomer actually try to reinforce a belief in themselves, or that they are already strong in their sense that they don't need to do this?
Yeah,
Normally.
thanks for the question. Yeah. So, as a human, we always think negatively, but that's the reason I say we have to always key in the positive mind, positive words in our minds. So, especially if you want to stand on the top of talent pyramid, okay, no one will going to encourage you. So we have to always self-motivate. So that is the reason that, yeah, even though we are Gen X, Gen Y, or maybe baby boomer, we have to have the same mindset, always think about positively, that I'm saying that try to attract the good friends, that really stand up the positive energies and so on. So as a baby boomer, or maybe because of the old generations, you are the senior, you are more senior with comparing with others. So we have to always play a good examples. So especially during this COVID-19 pandemic, we are facing a lot of stress, we are facing a lot of difficulties, but no worry. Just something like just now when the time I'm presenting, yeah, I'm facing some difficulties, my internet connection seems like unstable. At that moment, suddenly, yeah, but we have to always think positively. Yeah, maybe that is a chance for us to have a further discussion, maybe during MIWAC section or and so on. So even though there is a problem over there, so we have to always think it positively, key in the positive words in our mind. Yeah, no matter we are Gen X, Gen Y, or whatever. So maybe there is the opportunity given by the God. So for us to have a further discussion in near future. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents. Thank you, Mimi.
Okay, thanks. Really, you want to add something like that?
Yes,
That how
I would like
you,
to add. I would like
yes.
to add. Now, just now I have one slide to say that no matter which generation that you are from, right? All of us, because we are human, we have the same vital instinct, right? All of us have fear. All of us needs to be motivated. I agree with Chan, right? Now, the question here is, what motivates you will be very different based on generation, right? So let's take, for example, let's take the word success, right? To a baby boomer, their success is like, I have a house, I have a car, I have this, right? Or I have this certificates, that certificates, and they want to have, hang it on the wall, that kind of thing, which is more, physical, concrete, that matter. But if you look, I'm just going to just straight compare between boomers and Y, because that's the extreme, right? To a Y, I'm looking at the young Gen Y, right? What is success to him and what motivates him, right? It is more at, looking at how many countries my friends have traveled, and what do they post in the social media. And this kind of things, when they see their friends is doing it, that, maybe motivates them, and, look at all that, right? It is like, how many followers do I have? I mean, don't you agree with me? So
I agree completely.
Right? It's not about buying houses anymore. It's very different. The value system is different. This is what I mean, right? Everybody needs to be motivated, but how do you motivate a person who is 50 years old plus a 20 years old? That's where HR needs to understand all this.
Good, yeah, so I mean, by knowing the kind of preferences that they have in life, and what motivates them, then it's like the carrot that you use in order to encourage them to do better.
Exactly.
Correct? Exactly. And that's where we, where you deal with humans, you must understand what motivates a human. I think basically that's what you're saying, that it doesn't matter at what age we are, how you want them to move forward. You have to touch what touches their core most, rather than, just make a general statement, do this and you'll be happy. What is happy to them? What is the definition? I think all of us, at the end of the day, when we actually communicate, it boils down to the definitions of our life. How we define happy, how we define importance is, will be different according to our background, our family, and also our age group. So, I think all this ties back to definition and how we present ourselves with our own definitions. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see. There's a question here. Do we need to attach in the email? Oh, okay. Now somebody is asking about this e-certificate and what kind of information that we need to attach, they need to attach in the email. It's interesting. I think for me, I've always liked this idea about communications, internal communication, reinforcing of your behavior through self-talk and also understanding generations, because as you reach the top, as you go up the ladder to a brilliant level, you'll be dealing with people below you and people above you. And this is where understanding, the background of the different generations that you deal with will help. Yeah. And I think on that note, if you all have anything more to say, if not, we can just, say thank you very much to both of you, Lily and Chan. This is a very insightful webinar today. Chan, you want to add anything on where they can join or get more information on the webinar? Yeah?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the opportunity given. So I would like to share 3 slides. Okay, great. So can you see the slide over here? Okay, so this is talking about virtual advisory clinic. I make it like presentation mode. Okay, this is the one. Okay, as mentioned earlier, webinar is just something like one-way communications. So we are just share our information, share our knowledge with you. But of course, it will be interrupted by many factors, for example, the internet connections and so on. So we create this virtual advisory clinic for machinery and equipment. That's the reason that we can have a further discussion on it. So that is good for us to have another platform so we can really study on it. What is the problem that you are facing right now? For example, anything related to human resource or even though finance, incentive, business operation, and so on. So we have a team of experts that will work together with you, discuss together with you. Don't worry about it, that all the cost is fully borne by MPC and also MEPN. The main objective is to increase the labor productivity at least 3.6% annually. That is the reason we're trying to put our effort to work together with you to solve the problems and grow together. Okay, then the second is talking about productivity 1010. That is a very hot trend in this moment. We're talking about digitalization and so on. So how can we move forward? So this is the things that we have to discuss and get it ready. So we come with readiness assessment and so on. So we have a team of system integrators that can work together with you. And the final is talking about industrial skill framework. We work together with HRD Corp, formerly known as HRDF. So we come up with industrial skill framework, for example, for machinery and equipment and so on. So from there, we understand that the career path of each occupation, what is the training required, what is their skill, what is their knowledge, and so on. So with that, we can do the planning, do the proper training analysis and so on for our staff. Okay, so we can easily download it from the website hrdcorp.gov.my industrial skill framework. Yeah, so this is the promotion activities I would like to share. Thanks to you, Mimi.
So everyone, MEPN and MPC, we are always, trying to assist, because what is important at the end of the day is productivity. How we can improve ourselves so that we can have a better quality of life, instead of just working and slogging throughout our lifetime. We can balance between working and also a lifestyle. And this is what I think Generation Y is also interested, a balance, play hard, work hard. And Generation Z eventually will find that, the gig economy will be more suitable because they can choose when they want to work and when they want to take time off. And so all these things that MPC and MEPN has set up to improve the productivity is going to move towards there. It's going to take us towards an era where we can digitize and we can actually, choose as and when we want to work. And on that note, I really would encourage all of you, out there, business owners or entrepreneurs, to try and, explore and see whether you can be part of the Productivity 1010, or even go into HRD Corp and check, or even the clinics, just to have a chit chat and see where and how we can help you. All right. So thank you, everyone. I hope you had a good session with us today. And I hope that you have many takeaways from this session. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon. Stay safe. Be safe. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you again.
Thank you.